Welcome once again to Board Gamers. As always, we'll be taking you on a journey through all types of... Jim, what are you doing?
What? Oh, hey, yeah.
Jim, we're doing the show intro. Why are you playing Arkham Asylum?
Look, I'm just getting a last bit of practice in, mate. Don't worry about me.
Look, we're doing the show intro. It's very rude. Put down the controller and talk to the people.
Oh, all right. Yeah, I'm sorry. We've got news, reviews, challenges, and... Oi! You can't do that. That's my game.
Coming up on this week's show.
Save on all the unnecessary shouting.
That's not very nice.
By a bat or a pipe or something.
News.
So in the words of Monty Python, now for something completely different. Except from it's not different. It's the news, and it's always the news. The news?
At this time of the programme, Greg?
Shocking.
Shame on you, sir.
It's always the news at this time of the programme.
It is.
So what's going on in the world today? What's our big story?
The world today or the world of gaming?
Well, presumably the world of gaming.
I think we've got time to cover gaming, but not sure about the rest of it.
It's the important stuff. People don't care about current affairs and politics.
No,
and
not at all.
So, yeah, what's going on in the world of gaming?
Well, if there is a big story this week, it's to do with another... It's actually quite an amusing story, even though it relates to a death threat, which kind of sounds a bit...
One of those funny death threat stories.
One of those funny death threats,
Oh, they crack me up.
the kind. Basically, a tweet threatening to murder Valve's boss, Gabe Newell, for mislabeling a game has led to the game Paranormal Activity being removed from Steam. Basically, there's a gentleman who was trying to release a game on Steam, a man by the name of Mike Mulbeck, and his game Paranormal Activity had been part of Steam's early access scheme. And then had been recently upgraded to a final release. But Steam didn't realise for all of 3 hours it was still mistakenly listed as early access, and he got rather upset about it and tweeted that he was going to murder Gabe Newell for not.
Yeah, when I get
properly.
a little bit upset, I might sort of, huff and puff a little bit. I don't generally hand out death threats. That's kind of going from 1 to 100 and
it just seems
skipping
to
many
be the fashion these days, doesn't it? You can't have a Twitter rant without threatening to maim somebody. It would
Wow.
seem. But Gabe Newell was not very impressed, and as a result, instantly removed the game from Steam completely and rather screwed the guy over, which he deserved.
My favourite bit about this is the fact that he's basically gone, I've been taken off Steam, my game's not available. I don't want to do video games anymore. Yeah. He's well and truly thrown
I don't like it anyway. The whole thing's been horrible, sort of thing.
He's thrown his toys out the pram well and truly.
You loser. You said something stupid, you got slapped for it. You've got to take responsibility.
So there you go, kids. It's the moral of this week. It's don't give death threats if things don't go your way. It's normally frowned upon.
Only if they go your way, is that what you're trying to say?
So what have I got in the way of news? Obviously, there's a lot going on at Essen. One of the things that's been talked about is the new game King of New York, which is based on King of Tokyo. It's the follow-up to King of Tokyo.
Spreading the news.
Which you have played as well. You played the King. You played a big gorilla thing. You don't remember this. But,
I remember vaguely.
You remember vaguely.
I do.
It was a very, very popular game, a great little fun game that's quick to happen. And King of New York is much the same, except from it's set in New York rather than Tokyo. And apparently you can have there are buildings to stomp.
Can you destroy buildings?
There are buildings to stomp. There are vengeful military units to destroy. 6 brand new monsters. And this one time, it's got an added mechanic that every time you roll the dice, you might mean your monster fills the ouch as military units open fire.
I see.
So that should be fun. So we'll keep an eye on that.
Yeah, that sounds good fun. A mobile version of the critically acclaimed collectible card game Hearthstone will not be released until 2015. There's PC and iPad editions, but if you want to get it on Android or smaller devices like iPhones, it's not going to come out this year, unfortunately.
That's a shame.
They've got to redesign it for smaller screens, apparently, and they want to get it right. And being Blizzard, they will be very anal about getting it right.
Well, that's not a bad thing. If there's a reason to delay something, that's a good one.
Indeed.
As I said last week, we had Essen going on, and so there's some buzz of games that have been played a lot at Essen, and there are 2 in particular. Historia, the players guide their civilization through 12,000 years of human history. So it's basically a civilization type game for the boards. You can discover new technology, expand on the planet, and trade with more developed neighbours, import new technologies, exploit the land, etc. Things like that. Build up your military might, smash the hell out of each other, that sort of thing.
As you do.
Apparently, it's a game for 1 to 6 players, which is very versatile.
Nice.
You can play it solo with AI bots, sort of controlling the action, or you can play it up to 6 players. The other big thing that's been talked about is Alchemists, where 2 to 4 budding alchemists compete to discover the secrets of the mystical arts. Apparently, you can have mandrake root and scorpion tail, spongy mushroom, and warty toad.
Sounds very imaginative.
Quite exciting.
Xbox One owners can now download a free 8-player real-time strategy game named Voice Commander. Up to 8 people can use controllers to join in the game, and more can interact with it using voice commands. It's all centered around Earth. You're trying to sort of stop enemy ships from destroying Earth, and it's all kind of a top-down perspective. It looks really good, and you know what? It's free. It's just come out of nowhere. It's not like, oh, you know, we announced it 6 months ago. No, announced it today, and it's free, which is pretty cool.
Fantastic. We like free stuff here.
We do. New releases this week. Enemy Front on PC. MX versus ATV Supercross on everything old gen, basically. Tiny Troopers Joint Ops, PS3 and PS Vita. Farming Simulator 15 on PC. Oh, can't wait to play it.
Wow, I can't wait to get my tractor.
Shin Megami Tensei 4 on 3DS. And my personal favourite for this week, Click, Click, Boom on Android and iOS.
There we go. Well, that sounds an awful lot of fun.
Review.
This year commemorates a century since the beginning of the Great War. A conflict like none other of its time, it was a long and bloody entrenched war with little movement across the land. The same could not be said of the battle for the skies. So soon after the development of manned flight, these multi-winged forefathers of modern aviation pushed the boundaries of invention in a dramatic race between nations to dominate the skies. By late war, planes such as the Fokker, Sopwith Camel and Albatross flashed across the skies in daring displays of aeronautical skill as the art of dogfighting was born. Aviators with 5 or more aerial victories, as confirmed by their parent air service, were dubbed aces. Pioneer aviators such as William Avery Bishop of the Royal Air Force, Edward Vernon Rickenbacker of the US Army Air Service, and from the Luftstreitkräfte, Manfred von Richthofen, more famously known as the Red Baron. Originally released by Fancy Flight under the names Wings of War, Wings of Glory by Eris Games sees 2 or more players battle for air superiority with beautiful airplane miniatures in a fast-paced dramatic game of dogfighting prowess. Each plane is assigned a movement deck that accurately depicts its range of movement. As a player, will you choose speed, agility, or armament as a priority? Second-guessing your opponent's next move is key as you battle to stay alive. Yet despite the underlying gravitas of its subject matter, the game is designed to be quick to learn, pacey, and most of all fun. After all, how can you extract anything but pure enjoyment out of a game that allows you to talk like this?
I say, that Jerry mongrel is on my tail like Brigadier Zahonis Level 5 is on the brandy. I say, chap, can you hear me? I say! Tell you what, some sort of mobile radio wave communication device would be most useful right now. Save on all the unnecessary shouting. Really, it's not very British.
What was that, old boy? Damn it, blast, dashing loud business is aviation malarkey. I say, do you realize you've got Jerry right up your jacks, eh?
Can't chat now, old boy. I've got Jerry right up my jacksie.
What? I say, that's a damn peculiar aeroplane heading our way. Never seen a sausage-eating craft like it.
Well, that was an absolutely spiffing review there, Greg, but most importantly, what do you actually think of the gameplay?
Well, jolly nice of you to say so, old chap. To be honest, I can't keep that up. I've been doing that enough. It's great. It's a fantastic little game. It's not particularly current either in theme, being World War I or World War II, and it's not particularly current in the sense that it's changed company a few times. I believe the people who designed it have now sort of got the rights back and are very, very in keeping. It's a great game. It's particularly poignant because of the centenary of the Great War.
Yes.
And it is the World War I version that is the better game of the two. There are slightly different ways of playing the same mechanic between the World War I and the World War II. I've got an old box, so it's called Wings of War on this one.
So this is World War II box?
This is the World War II.
Right.
This comes with Spitfire Messerschmitt. Obviously, in RVT, we looked more at the Great War I for obvious reasons. But it's a great game, lots of fun to play.
So you think the World War I version is better, then?
The mechanics are slightly better, so yeah, I would go for that.
That is interesting, because, of course, World War II is famous for, aircraft fighting.
Yeah, although it doesn't have the Red Baron. See, World War I has the Red Baron.
You haven't got the characters, you see.
So let's see what I gave it in the way of star rating. Let's see.
4 stars.
4 star. It deserves every bit of 4 star. It's that good. It's a great game for that. This one's slightly different though. With the boardometer rating, there might be a bit of a surprise here. Let's have a look at this.
Let's have a look.
Still the ground.
grand.
Still the grand.
That's quite boring. Then.
It's not boring. It's just the fact that there is a direct correlation between the amount of planes you have and the amount of things that you can do with the game in the sense of the more variety. So with a bigger collection, you'll be able to enjoy it more. So it will go up or down depending on
how much you invest in the game. Then.
Exactly, which can put people off, but it's a great game and definitely worth playing.
After the break.
Come on, you can take this guy out. Come on.
Try it.
He's only got a knife. You're Batman.
Lady Gaga.
Lady Gaga.
Lady Gaga.
Do you really think you can win? Poor little bat.
This week we're celebrating a very special anniversary as, Greg, it's been 5 years, can you believe it? 5 years since a fantastic game came out, a real game changer, Batman Arkham Asylum.
And what a game it is.
Yes.
Stunning game. 5 years.
Is it 5 years? I don't know where those
Where
years
does
have gone.
time go?
Yeah, but it's a real game-changing game. In fact, it introduced all kinds of fantastic fighting mechanics, and wow, it was really the first really good superhero game ever, in my opinion.
Indeed.
So we're going to celebrate as we're going to take on a challenge this week. Greg and I are going to take on one of the challenge maps. This one's called Sewer Bat. Basically, we're going to be fighting a lot of goons, and we're going to see if we can get through 3 rounds against these goons who progressively get harder in 2 minutes each. So,
2 minutes, and I guess it's going to be based on the highest score, I guess.
I guess so.
That makes sense.
Assuming
Let's do
we
that.
both get through it, of course. So yes, let's start off, shall we? I'm going first.
Okay, here we go.
Oh my God, here they come!
Beat him up, Jim! Actually, no, don't beat him up. Don't do very well, please. Let me beat
Oi,
him up.
it's supposed to be nice.
Pardon?
And of course, it's all about your multipliers. The higher multipliers you get, the worse damage you can do to all these guys.
Oh, he's doing
I'm
all
not
right.
doing very well
Oh,
here.
you lost your multiplier. You were at 9 and then you lost it. After a while, you get, I think it's sort of 10 or 13 or something like that.
Oh,
You
it
can
goes
start
crazy. It go up
doing
sort of 20, 30
You can then
multipliers,
start
yeah.
doing some funky little things. Oh, that was easy.
I'm through the first round already.
Wow.
This is going well.
That's quick.
Not a great
1,210.
score, but, you know, we'll see how far we get.
Some facts about Arkham Asylum. This game received critical acclaim, particularly for its narrative, and won several awards, including Best Action Adventure Game, Best Game, and Game of the Year from different media outlets. It also held the Guinness World Record for most critically acclaimed superhero game ever. So
Wow.
there you go.
Well, there you go.
As we know, went on to spawn a few sequels. Arkham City, which many people say are the best of the series thus far. Arkham Origins from a slightly different studio, not brilliant, but not terrible.
It's quite a good copy. But
It's so-so,
really not.
yeah.
It's so-so.
oh.
Through round two.
Round two.
Greg. It's getting serious now.
Wow, you're doing well.
Right, here we go. I'll kick you in the face, sir.
And of course, this is all
What
very
you deserve,
keeping.
you evil criminal.
This is very in keeping because we've got Arkham Knight coming out soon. It's been slightly delayed as they
It's such a
refine
shame delay,
things.
but you know what? I'd rather they delayed it and got it right. 'Cause-
They're a perfectionist at Rocksteady. They are going to make it an awesome game. We're looking forward to it.
Oh, I got hit with a baseball
you
bat.
got
That's not very nice.
smacked by a bat or a pipe or something. Oh.
Yeah, they're pretty horrible. They're pretty horrible, these goons.
So you've got about 30 seconds. Jim, are you going to be able to take all these guys down in time?
I don't know. I'm not sure. I haven't played this in a while.
Oh, you're doing all right, though. Oh, you got about 15 seconds. Going up to 10 seconds. You're just punching the air. That's it. Waste your time.
Oh, I got him. Is that it?
Have you done it?
5 seconds left.
Ah. With a couple of seconds left.
I got through 3 rounds, so 2,990. That's the score to beat. Right?
Fantastic. Well, I'm sure I'm going to do nothing near as good as that.
Right, so let's just restart. Okay, right, Greg. Now, no
Straight
pressure.
into this.
But what you need to do is press all the buttons that you don't think are the right ones.
Yeah.
Okay? Yeah, he might.
We're
listen.
gonna do
I
it.
might get in subliminal messaging.
Okay, and start the stop clock now.
Press the wrong buttons. Oh, you're being really mean, Greg. Come on, I mean, this is just corporal punishment here. These men need to be rehabilitated.
Oh, I'm not doing as well as you. Button mashing and hitting stuff. But
Oh, no, you take that guy out. Oh, nice counter. Oh, and he's
look
through the
at
first
that.
round already. Oh my goodness, this is going to be close, everybody. This is really going to be close.
yeah, we'll see the multiplier. I don't think I've got the score you had in the first round, though. I'm sure you had like 1,200 in the first round.
But, it's not how you start, it's how you finish, as they say. So let's see how you do here. Other great things about this game, Batman had all kinds of fantastic gadgets in this game for a detective mode, for for seeing, you know, clues. Because let's not forget, Batman is a great detective and scientist as well as, you know, a badass martial artist. And they got those elements into this game really well as well. So that's really good. Yeah, you've got to stun that guy and then take him out.
Yeah, I figured out now. I'm getting there.
Yeah, what? Go on, man. Oh. How are we doing on the clock there, guys? 50 seconds. You've got 50 seconds, Greg.
I'm forgetting how to do it.
Come on, you can take this guy out. Come on.
Try.
He's only got a knife. You're Batman. Right, there you go. He's stunned. Now hit him. There you go.
There you go. Smack him in the face.
Oh, the pain, the misery.
I'm getting through them. I'm just
You're getting through them, but
the
you've
score
only
that
got
you're
about
getting.
30 seconds left, and you've got one more round to do. One more round.
It's not going to happen, is it? I
Come
don't.
on, right, go for it. Go for it. Come on. Get a flow going. That's what it's all about. Why am I encouraging you? I don't know.
Well, I
Be
think
very
you've got
nice.
this one in fairness, mate. But I'm going to.
You see all the gadgets there appearing in the corner. You could use your back claw if you wanted. 20 seconds left. Not long to go here, Greg. Oh, there's only a few more goons. 10 seconds.
10 seconds. I don't think
10
I can do
seconds. Oh, that's a beautiful drop kick, but is it going to be enough? I don't think it's going to be enough.
Oh no!
He scores 1,500. Oh no! That's it. Stop.
Oh!
Right, that's it.
I've put it
Hit
down.
pause.
I've put it down.
Hit pause. Oh, and you're about to be hit in the back of the head.
2,000. I don't think I've done enough to be.
I think I got 2,200 there, mate. But that was
there
quite
wasn't a
close.
lot in it
There
then?
wasn't a lot in it at all.
Wow.
But there you go, Batman Arkham Asylum, and it was available free on PlayStation Plus just a few weeks ago. So
Fantastic.
you can pick it up for a few quid.
And we can't wait for Arkham Knight now.
Quick look.
Well, that was Disney Fantasia Music Evolved, Greg. And I have to say, we've had a lot of fun with this today.
How can you not have fun doing this? I get to wear my Dickie Bow and Cummerbund.
You've been looking for an excuse for many weeks, sir.
I don't need an excuse. I dress like this at home.
That's his regular attire, yes.
This
is an Xbox exclusive game. It's only on Xbox One and Xbox 360, and of course you will need the Kinect peripheral. But if you're a fan...
Very important.
Yes, if you're a fan of Rock Band, Guitar Hero, that kind of stuff, it's kind of like that, but with your hands. And if you want to create crazy compositions, there's all kinds of songs in there. It's not just classical songs. There's all kinds of...
You can play all sorts. It's got the
modern
Gorillas
stuff.
in there and Bohemian Rhapsody
Lady
and
Gaga.
Lady Gaga.
Yeah.
Lady Gaga.
Lady Gaga.
Lady Gaga. It's going to appeal to anyone who wants to have fun. It's going to appeal to the people who bought the Wii for liking waving stuff around.
Yeah.
It's definitely going to appeal to people who like a bit of music and a little less chavvy than the Rock Band look.
I say, yeah. So for those
more
sophisticated
upper
people
class.
out there, this is the game for you. Disney Fantasia Music Evolved.
Out today.
Still to come.
For a debate of its own right. They annoy me very much.
Here, Codemasters is solidly delivering.
Mass debate.
So now we have the triumphant return of our Mass Debate segment. Now, we've genuinely not masturbated on television for a number of weeks now, so we're quite pent up and very excited about masturbating once again.
Yes.
And,
well, it might be a bit brief this week as a result.
It might come across very quickly. We're going to be talking about
Our Game's Too Easy. Yes.
And we haven't had loads of replies, but we've had a few.
Had a few interesting ones, yes. Diane Frangi says, I don't find games easier these days. The difference is that you can buy lives and bits to make it easier. I don't spend the extra money. I make a point of completing the games without the extra help, so it's as hard as usual for me. So, you know, that's kind of tapping into the fact that there are microtransactions in games and there are things you can buy. You know, that's to do with the economics of modern games in a way, isn't it? You know,
it is. I mean, that microtransaction is for a debate of its own right. They annoy me very much, but yes, you know, there are ways of making it easier, I suppose. I suppose microtransactions are the cheat codes of yesteryear, aren't they? Really?
Indeed. That's a nice way to look at it. You know, you can buy something which will give you a bit of an upgrade. I mean, most games shy away from doing that too overtly because you don't literally have to buy sort of, a special weapon that can defeat any enemy. But then again, you play something like Forza Motorsport 5, you can buy for a lot of real money, a Formula 1 car in the game, which is really fast, for example, and it costs in real world money something like £100. So
wow.
Crazy like that.
That's mental.
So that's not such a great example. Maria Huggins says, totally agree with the above, but also some of the games I've bought for my son are easy to begin with. Then halfway through, there are levels he finds so hard, he just gives up. They need to find a better balance.
That's interesting because a lot of the older games used to ramp up the difficulty. I remember when I used to play on the NES. God, ask your grandparents about that one. That was a while ago. And it used to be like, this is really cool, this is really cool, this is really cool. This is a level I can't do. And you will spend hours on it, you'll use all the cheat codes, you'll be buggered, you'll put the controller down and you'll quit the game.
Games were pretty much designed sometimes to be impossible. I mean, there were platformers in some versions of games where you couldn't jump across, literally, you just couldn't get across. So in that case, it was impossible to complete it. So, so if you go back far enough, that's the problem.
So in fairness, Maria, at least the games are possibly possible in this day.
Possibly.
Just fairly improbable.
Stephen Silverwood says, the difficulty level of second-gen era games like UK classic Manic Miner in comparison to most modern games and casual apps is so great that it takes an almost chess-like quality when you play it nowadays. Again, this is going back to
That's exactly what I just said. Yeah. I mean, Manic Miner was one of those classic from that era. So,
although he says the success of an app like Flappy Bird shows that there is still a market for those throwing the console against the wall style games. So, you know, we have seen a return, again, Dark Souls is another good example of games that are hell-bent on being really difficult these days. And people are getting quite hooked on that, actually, again, which is nice.
So I think the overview is generally that they're a little bit easier than they used to be, but there are some still, especially
games are generally
games.
easier, but they give you more options of difficulty level. But there are the odd games out there, like Flappy Bird, which are really bloody difficult.
To be honest, I like a hard game.
Review.
If that music doesn't get your motor running, nothing will. When I was 10 years old, my dream was to be an F1 driver. Like a lot of other kids, I would imagine. My dad would take me and my brother go-karting every month, and we'd all happily kid ourselves that one of us one day would lift the World Championship. However, in the absence of a lottery win or being left a huge pile of cash in some old lady's will, we soon resigned ourselves to the next best thing, and that was winning at all the racing games we could get our hands on, especially the F1 games. The best example when I was growing up was Jeff Crammon's peerless classic, Grand Prix 2. Based on the infamous 1994 season, it was a brilliantly intricate and realistic simulation. Sure, the graphics don't hold up compared to today's races, but who cares? It's still arguably the most accurate F1 simulator to date. Fast forwarding a couple of decades and it falls to Codemasters, the British studio with a great pedigree in races going back to the Colin McRae Rally days. Their first proper effort, F1 2010, was a big improvement over pretty much anything that had come in that last decade. 5 years on though, and unfortunately, nothing has really changed. Like an old, worn-out, but still snug and comfortable pair of slacks full of holes and in desperate need of a clean, F1 2014 is the product of stagnation. But before we condemn the franchise as a whole, let's look at the game's features and, if anything, what's new in this year's edition. The first thing that you'll notice is that there is no PlayStation 4 or Xbox One version of the game. Nope. Dust off the PS3 or 360 because against expectation, Codemasters failed to produce a next-gen version of F1 for this year. Definitely an unwelcome surprise. For those who don't follow the sport religiously, you may not be aware that this season saw a huge rule change, resulting in the introduction of 1.6-litre hybrid turbo engines, a change that has a profound effect on the way the cars drive and sound. Personally, I love the new high-tech, albeit much quieter, turbine whining of these state-of-the-art powertrains. However, there are a lot of fans who are most disgruntled by this lowering of the decibels, clearly feeling that tinnitus is part of the appeal of the sport. Wherever you fall on this debate, Codemasters have done a fine job recreating the sound of the new look F1. Car handling is suitably realistic too, as the new high-torque engines combined with significantly less aerodynamic grip make for a much squirmier car to drive, with patience and precision in acceleration key to extracting that perfect lap time. The game also features, like before, a solid online mode, named RaceNet. Full online grids with up to 16 actual players to race against and challenge on time trials. That along with the pleasant surprise of still supporting a local split-screen 2-player mode, here Codemasters is solidly delivering. In career mode, instead of taking the young driver test and being offered a drive with only 3 or so of the slowest teams, as was used in previous versions of the game, you now only need to take an evaluation test, which gives you the pick of any team you'd like, whilst offering you a suggested difficulty based on the speed of your evaluated lap time. Although this gives the player more flexibility right from the off, it makes the career mode seem even less realistic, and more like a lazy compromise to me. In the Season Challenge mode, more scenarios have been added than ever before to test your skill at achieving specific results when put into momentary pressure situations, like coming from behind to win a race with only 5 laps to go, etc. I've always enjoyed this mode, but I would like to see more historically specific challenges that recreate classic Grand Prix moments from the past. Which brings us on to the game's most glaring omission. Unlike last year's edition, there is no classic content in F1 2014 whatsoever. No classic cars or tracks, just the current season's offerings. Given how similar the game is to last year's, it seems pointless and unnecessary to remove the content at all. Which brings me on to another major gripe. Virtually every menu, sound cue, piece of music, animation, and control input is exactly the same as last year's game, and in many cases has been the same for the last several years. There's nothing wrong with consistency, but when you see the same exact effects used year on year, you really get the impression Codemasters are just going through the motions here. In every sense, F1 2014 is a sound Formula 1 racing simulator, with fairly deep options for setting up your car, strategy, a logical career path, scenario mode, and online challenges. But where you want, and let's face it, expect To see a game series develop and offer a more compelling experience in all areas, F1 2014 and by extension the whole franchise is somewhat lacking at this point. If anything, this year's edition is a step backwards from last year, with no historic content and an overly simplified career mode, the Serial Offenders. This should have been the year that saw F1 go next gen, but instead, we've got a game that is still a very good simulation of the world's premier racing series, but also completely outdated in comparison to the sophisticated experience a gamer enjoys in many other racing games that have come our way recently. If Codemasters are to continue their success with the F1 franchise, they really need to step it up next year. Big time. A fully realised career mode over several fully licensed seasons, creatable drivers, classic cars, tracks and scenarios, parade laps, deeper strategy and setup options, pre-season and in-season testing, and pretty please a podium ceremony when I win the race! Seriously, I just want to feel like a champion. Please, Codies. Pretty please.
So, another year, another F1 game, and it's in a year that there's quite a lot of driving releases going on.
There's
What
a
do
lot
you
of driving
think?
games, and unfortunately this was really disappointing because, as you can see, Xbox 360, it says along here, it's only available on current gen, and everyone was expecting it would be next gen. And that's really where this game has fallen down, because not only is it old gen, but they've removed a bunch of the classic content. Really, really disappointing, unfortunately. It's still a good racing game to play. It's still a good version of F1, but yeah, disappointing.
Well, let's see what you give it in the way of star rating.
Let's have a look. 3 star. It's good. It's a good F1 game. If you haven't played one recently, it's worth picking up. But yeah, disappointing. But let's have a look at the boardometer.
Okay, let's have a look.
It's in the red. It gets boring very quick because you know what? If you played last year's game, you're going to be really disappointed because it's missing loads of the modes.
Well,
so,
hopefully
what can you
we'll
do?
see what F1 brings us next year.
Coming up!
If you're fat and ugly, then you're really in trouble, basically, these days.
Super fast kicks going at all. He's on for a perfect here.
Studio guest.
This week, as our studio guest, we've got the head of a company that specialises in delivering digital experiences, including games to inspire as well as educate to children of all ages.
That's right. Studio Syrup build interactive and fun games to help empower young people to build a future that works for them. Here to tell us more about it is Jon Davison. Thank you for joining us today.
Thanks, guys. Nice to be here.
Well, Studio Syrup sounds like a really sort of, a good cause as well as a good sort of digital outlet for games. So give us an overview.
As a creative person, what inspires me is using creativity to make a difference, and in particular using games and storytelling, and we also do animation and interactive stuff, but going beyond entertainment, trying to make it purposeful, trying to make it have an intention that solves a problem, does something good in the world. That's what gets me out of bed on a Monday morning.
Wow, sounds like a noble cause.
Is this some way sort of counteracting that? There's so much, which a lot of it is nonsense, of people saying nowadays, games are the cause of violence and games are the cause of this, and to be honest, there's a lot of research that shows that it helps with concentration and dexterity, but no one could really say that about any of your games. They can only say they are for the greater good as such. So
I hope so. Yeah, definitely. I think I think that games are powerful. They're a powerful paradigm to get people to change behaviour, to learn stuff, to improve cognitive skills. It's a really powerful medium to do stuff with. It's just a question of what you do with it and what your intention is that I find interesting, to have that do something different other than have that default state of adrenaline-fueled kind of invincible violence-wielding stuff. And I think on a sort of big level, you can make people feel different stuff, make them feel vulnerable instead of invincible, and even in terms of casual games where you've got where people use behavioural economics to make people addicted and make them compulsive to do stuff. I think you can use the way to nudge behaviour to make them do good stuff instead of just being addicted to watering some carrots in their farm or whatever it is. You
So,
know.
so you talk about power, and to paraphrase a certain hero, with power comes great responsibility. So, with all this power and responsibility, what have you done? Give us some examples of games that you've created and what they've been used for.
Yeah. A nice example I can give you is a game we did for Channel 4 Education. And really nice brief in that they just said, make something useful for young people outside of the curriculum. And so we talked to a bunch of young people, and interestingly, being an old person, what they were able to give an insight to was that, one, because their lives are much more published these days, everything's on Facebook and social media.
Of course.
And two, that because things are much more homogenised. In other words, when I was in the sixth form, you had your goths, your hippies, your moshers, your grungers, your townies, and all of those
all
sort
separate
of
groups.
Yeah, sort of little tribes. And they sort of articulated that there was much less of that things were much more homogenised. So therefore, if you have no kind of tribe to hide in, then your social hierarchy is defined by your physical attributes. So if you're fat and ugly, then you're really in trouble, basically, these days. So body image was really acute for boys and girls, really big obsession from an early age. Early age, people are very conscious of this, of how they've got to look and how they look in relation to each other, and there's nowhere to hide. So that's the problem. How do we solve this problem? And we came across this great field, which is from Harvard, called positive psychology, which is a kind of hippie shit with science.
That was sold to you, yeah.
Yeah. It has real credibility. It's embedded in science. So what positive psychology does is study the outliers. So usually psychology studies people below average, with below average levels of happiness, so mental illness, depression. Positive psychology focuses on the people with above average happiness, and tries to deconstruct why, what works for them, why they are that way, and has kind of come up with this sort of training scheme whereby you train people to become more positive and optimistic. Really lovely notion in that sort of counterintuitively says that instead of striving for happiness, if you get a good job and a girlfriend and family, then you'll be happy. That sort of puts that on his head, and says that if you're happy, then your brain is essentially in the opposite of a fight or flight mechanism. And when you're using more of your brain, so you're able to solve problems, you literally see more, you can literally see more
good
colours.
Things will come to you as a result.
You got
of
it.
positive.
Yeah. So success will be a result of happiness rather than the other way around.
How do you approach making a game with that element? Do you find that element first and then try and make a game that fits, or do you do it the other way around? Do you create a game that you think is good and then try and shoehorn that in? How do you approach that?
It starts with the former, in that we know that this stuff can make a difference, and then it's like, right, how can that be baked into a game mechanic, and so the solution, basically, it's kind of a metaphorical game in which you change this world, it gets invaded, and you have to change it from a kind of pessimistic world to an optimistic world or a beautiful world. But at the end of each level, the game will prompt you to answer questions about good stuff in your life. So this is, the key thing about positive psychology is you have to kind of generate and document and focus on the positive things in your life. So by the end of the game, you have a whole bank of answers of all the wonderful things in your life, things that you're grateful for, things you're looking forward to, things you're looking good, you're good at. So you kind of build up this bank of positive answers that you can go to. And again, another thing about positive psychology is positivity boosts. So when you're stressed, you've got an exam or a driving test, you can go to your positivity bank and remind yourself, the good stuff. And in doing that, actually decreases stress. I
like the sound of this. It sounds very obviously. Certain banks have become prominent with stuff like Sherlock talking about sort of a memory bank. So I suppose a positivity bank is a sort of a take on that. Totally. It sounds like a very rewarding thing to do. And it must be great to get sort of feedback and to be recognised. I believe you've been nominated for a BAFTA for one of your games.
Yes, just this week, one of our games, not so educational, purely entertainment, but a game called Ludus for CBBC, which we made with a company called Cube Interactive in Cardiff. And so yes, Ludus is a great game in that it's a really unique experience. It's a play-along second screen game. So we kind of built the games first, which again is a real challenge. Been working with broadcasters for years, and digital is always the afterthought. You always get it, get a brief 5 minutes before the TX date. But this was unusual in that we made the games before the TV show. So in the games, they play games in the show, and the same games are on your iPad or your phone, and they'll sync to the TV show, so you can play along. And really interesting experience in that. Are you watching the TV show? Are you in your game? How do How do you sort of
Blurring
manage
the lines
that?
between the two
Yeah,
games.
and sort of managing that relationship of immersing yourself in the TV show, but then detaching to play the game. But yeah, that's been nominated for a Children's BAFTA
Wow.
in the interactive characters.
Well, that all sounds positively wonderful.
It does sound positive, and we wish you luck with your
Thanks a
BAFTA
lot.
nomination.
Thank you, guys.
We're going to ask you to stay here and play a game which probably has very little educational value.
Well, you're going to have to think positive.
Okay, yeah.
You are, but we're positive that you're going to thrash everyone.
Studio Guest Communal Retro Video Game Challenge.
When it comes to the Retro Video Game Challenge, positivity is a very big point, Greg. It's all about confidence. And John, have you got the confidence to top our leaderboard?
Feeling good, Jim. Feeling good.
You're feeling good. You're feeling good. Okay, that's what we like to hear.
I think this is going to go well. So as usual, you're going to be taking on one round. It's at a default difficulty, which all the other guests have shared, which is somewhere vaguely in the middle.
Against a random opponent.
Yeah, so let's see who you're going to face. So if you start off with
start button
start.
there for us there, John.
Okay, John, so if you could press start, and we'll get it going. And
Champion mode, that's right. Game start. Click the start button. And who are you going to pick for your challenge today?
who are you going to go for?
Got all the classic characters here, all playable. Chun-Li, another Chun-Li. There's some secret about Chun-Li I'm not aware of.
She turns out to be very popular. And who playing? It's Zangief.
Zangief. Well, what a matchup. The small girl versus the big, huge guy. This is going to be an interesting juxtaposition here, Greg.
So don't let him grab you. That's it.
Oh, and Zangief's already on the floor. This is a very good start for John indeed.
First.
And he's got the super fast kicks going, and he's on for a perfect here. If he's oh no, he had Zangief taste, but he didn't take
Oh
advantage of
my
it.
god.
Oh no, Zangief's got his big
It
powerbomb
was
zoom.
gonna be a perfect, and he got there. But I think it's gonna be good though.
Oh, he's very close indeed to being Zangief, and that's it.
Fantastic.
First round to John. Well done.
Well done there.
Clearly hasn't lost a step playing Street Fighter 2, as we can see.
Muscle memory.
Wow, that
Positive vibes are flowing, I have to say.
I think the positivity is working. I feel that you could, if you carry on like that, you could get a perfect this time.
21,800 points already on the board. This is looking good.
Oh, you got a kick in the face.
Oh, but Zangief not liking that. He's trying to fight back.
Not the
Can he get
perfect,
past the
but,
spinning kicks of doom?
He's doing well though. He's got the leg kick thing down to a T.
One
Zangief
move.
is looking quite scared. He is cowering literally in the
backing
corner
away.
from Chun-Li. He is not happy about this at all. Being beaten by a girl
Fighting.
on television. He's not happy at all.
Fighting back a little bit though, and
John's got him pinned down. Oh, there's a tiny bit of health left. Is he going to get Zangief? Zangief's got the power bomb. Oh, what a turnaround.
but
And
one
more hits required, and that's it.
fantastic.
It's all over. Zangief is down and out. And what are we going to see at the top score? Are we going to see a new leader? Let's check out the score. 36,400. That makes you third place, John. Well done. Who will go on to be crowned the Retro Video Game Champion?
Only time will tell, Jim. Send us your thoughts on all things gaming to the usual social media sources, and don't forget to tune in next Friday at 9:30 for our Halloween special.
Spooky stuff there, Greg. But until then, as always, game on.
Game on.